We want to talk about something called close pursuit. Love the verse in 1 Corinthians that love never gives up. A part of that reconnecting, how do we continue to stay close? There's a part of it that we call close pursuit. And I actually remember when my pursuit of Erin started. So you've just seen all these fail or nailed it clips. Well,
I would have to say,
there was a moment
pursuit.
that I knew that this is who I wanted to marry. And let's just say it was a little different for you.
A lot different for me.
I failed, I think.
I'm thinking,
but
well,
I remember
it works in the
though.
long run.
I know.
But in the moment.
Yes,
and
very
they'll
different.
get it when.
It's very sad, actually.
Well, kind of. I don't know if they'll think it's sad.
Who knows?
So we met. We were sophomores at Grand Canyon University, Phoenix, Arizona, back in the day. I don't know if you've heard of that university here. It's huge now. It used to be this little tiny school. And I was new on campus. I had transferred in as a sophomore. Greg was already there. We had seen each other around but had never met. But I found myself sitting, I felt like I was going over.
You nailed it.
Whoa, I caught it, yeah. I found myself sitting right behind him in an Old Testament theology class at Grand Canyon. The big problem was it was a 7 a.m. Old Testament theology class. 7 a.m.
This is wrong. Wrong.
But there we were in the back of this really crowded classroom. Greg was sitting right in front of me. I was right behind him. And apparently you were tired. I know what you like to say. He likes to say, well, because his head was down on the desk. And he likes to say he was praying.
Some of us pray.
No, because would be interesting prayer behavior because his head was down and he was drooling on the desk. And I could see it because I was
prayer
right
language.
there.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah, no. And so I didn't want him to miss out on any great Old Testament theology passage. So I reached forward and I shook him and I woke him up just to help him out. I didn't want you to miss out on anything.
Did you hear what she said? She woke me up to help.
Yeah.
You hear her use the word help?
Leviticus.
Yeah, Leviticus. So let me give you an idea of her idea of helping someone. So I was sound asleep in the very back of this class, sitting just in front of this girl I'd never met before, total stranger, didn't know who she was. The next thing I know, as I'm resting peacefully, is she grabs my arm and shakes me awake. So I pop awake, kind of wipe the drool, and I'm just looking at her. And she, seems all panicky. So she leans forward and she whispers real quick. She goes, Greg. I went, what? She goes, quick, you got to stand up. I went, what? You know, wiping the sleep. I don't know, what?
Yeah, you had that morning breath.
yeah. I must have eaten your sock. So she's all panicky. She goes, quick, you gotta stand up. And I said, why? She goes, the professor, he just called on you. I said, why? He just called on you to pray. So quick, you gotta stand up. Well, first of all, what stranger would make something like this up? No, it's impossible. So being the formally trusting person that I was, I stood up from the back of this classroom, huge class, and I started to pray out loud. Have you ever been praying out loud and you get that really eerie feeling that people are looking at you? Like there's a disturbance in the force or something. So I peeked, and sure enough, I could see people pointing at me. They're laughing. I don't know what's so funny, but I just finished praying, and then I sat down, and now the entire class is laughing at me. My friends, my former friends, were on the ground pounding the floor. They're laughing so hard. I'm looking at her. She looks embarrassed. I don't know what's happening. Until the professor goes, Greg, he goes, appreciate the enthusiasm. He said, great prayer. However, maybe next time you could let me finish lecturing before you close the class in prayer. Is that the meanest thing you've ever heard in your life? I mean, I remember just sitting there totally humiliated, just staring at her, thinking, wow, the fact that she could be that cruel to another human being so impressed me that I remember thinking, now that's a girl I want to marry someday. See, now the whole knife thing, scissor thing, now it's coming into focus. Thus began my close pursuit of my wife. Took me several years, and I had to watch her date my roommate for a couple of those years, but whatever, to convince her that we were meant to be together. And I'll never forget pursuing her. And then once we got married, loved her, we got invested in all these other things, working, we started to have children, and it seemed like my attitude kind of went from this close pursuit just to being involved in these other things. And that's not what I want. I want to do something very different. And it's hard. And I know that we get busy and there's a lot going on. So how do we then continue to closely pursue one another? Erin and I love this verse. So it's in Ephesians 5:29. It says that no one ever hated his own flesh. So of course you don't hate your own body, but we do two things. We cherish and we nourish, just as Christ does the church. And as Erin and I think about how do we continue to closely pursue one another, we believe the answers are right there in that verse. Something about those two words, to cherish and nourish, we have found that makes such a big difference as we're pursuing one another. So Erin and I just want to spend the rest of our time tonight, we just want to unpack those two words and show you what they can do within your marriage. So I'm going to take the first one. So I'm going to take this idea of cherish. Cherish it's a mindset. It's a recognition that she is of incredible value. There are times that I'm frustrated with Erin, or maybe I'm just super busy, that it's easy to lose track and to sort of miss her value. But my inability to see her value doesn't ever change the truth, which is she's incredibly valuable because, one, God makes that super clear. God says that my wife was made in his image. I mean, that alone makes her so valuable. He said that she is fearfully and wonderfully created. God calls her his treasured possession. I love that. Jesus says that she's his glorious inheritance. God calls her his masterpiece. What's true about my wife, what's true about you, is that she's incredibly valuable. And the more that I recognize that, the more that that's on my mind, the more that I see that, there's a way in which that creates safety within our relationship. There's a verse, and I love this, for where your treasure is, so what you value, there will your heart be also. So what I value, that's what my heart opens to. And the more that I get her value, and the more that she sees and knows that I get her value, the more that opens her heart. I'm only going to pursue what I value. I watched this one time play out. Well, actually, we watched this play out with my parents. And one of the things that I love about my parents, my dad, some of you may have heard my dad. His name is Erin Smalley. Anybody have ever heard Erin Smalley? Yeah. Some of you came here thinking you were going to hear Erin Smalley, right? People are like, who's he then? What happened? He went to be with the Lord about 3 years ago, one of the greatest marriage experts on the planet, did conferences and wrote books. I think he wrote over 60 books on how to have a great marriage. But what I love, one of the things I really love about my parents' marriage is that every once in a while, my parents would get into a big old fight. And you might be thinking, why is that? Why did you like that? There's something about when my parents would fight, it just made me feel normal. Like if they could do it and be married for over 50 years, man, there's hope for us. So there's something, I don't know, is there something comforting about seeing them argue?
And we saw one of these fights play out. We went to be with them for Thanksgiving holiday one year. And Greg and our kids and us, we drove, we got there. And they had woken up, Thanksgiving Day, it's the day we celebrate being thankful. they were not thankful for each other that day. They were irritated, much like we were back when you dropped the laundry on my head, just irritated with each other.
Accidentally dropped the laundry.
Irritated with each other, and we just kept seeing them just picking at each other. And you and your dad and Garrison, our son, were very committed to watching football. They had football on, they were watching it, and you could just see the frustration building in the kitchen with his mom. And I kept trying to step in and help her, but she didn't want my help. She wanted your dad's help.
Yeah.
And, you know, the slamming cupboard doors and you just could tell she was getting more and more annoyed. And a commercial break would come on, and the boys would run outside with their Nerf football, and they were playing what they just saw on the TV, and the frustration just kept building. I kept trying to help. She didn't want my help. And then finally, your dad came back in, and they had a couple words, and it just exploded. And here we are. We're standing there. And it's like in this major fight. You know how uncomfortable that is to be in the middle, like right there when a couple's fighting? So just awkward. But then all of a sudden, his mom took off one way, his dad took off the other, and we just were standing there by ourselves in the kitchen, Thanksgiving Day, trying to feel thankful. We didn't know what to do. It was just like, what do we do now? And so the girls and I followed his mom. And as women, we can be very empathic and comforting. And so we followed his mom, and we were hugging her, and we were shooting your dad dirty. I know, he's mean. It's okay. We're here with you. But you followed your dad.
Yeah, a little different than the women.
Yeah.
He walked by, and I looked at my son. I'm like, go talk to Grandpa. He likes you anyway, so better. So my dad. So I said to my dad, I said, hey, Dad, hold up. And he stopped, turned around, and went, what? I said, well, I can see you're really upset. And he goes, yeah? I said, well, I know exactly how to help in this very situation. He's like, what? I said, yeah, I'm a psychologist after all. I know how to help you. He's like, seriously? I said, yeah, sit down. I sat him down in his real comfy chair. Now, the truth was, I was just going to try to lighten the mood, maybe be funny a little bit, you know, because some people like that, right? Who likes it when you're upset? Humor can help you, right? Some of you, right? Yeah, there's a few of us. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, who hates that? Yeah, that's her. Yes, I learned that once, to not do that. So I was just going to lighten the mood a little bit for him. So I said, yeah, Dad, sit in this chair. I'm going to go over to the bookshelf. I'm going to grab one of your books that you've written, and I'm going to read to you what you should be doing for Mom right now. Garrison and I are like high-fiving. And I turned around, and he's gone. I hear his door of his office slam shut. I'm like, okay. So I waited a little bit. I went to his door and knocked, and I hear this, who is that? And I said, hey, it's Greg. And you just hear this, I went, I love you too, Father. So he said, come in. So now the truth was, I was just going to come in and kind of walk around to his desk where he was seated. He's behind his computer. I was just going to rub his neck a little bit and just say, hey, I'm sorry. Can I pray for you? You want to talk about anything? And so as I made my way around, I could see he's looking at his computer, so I'm assuming he's online. So as I got close to him, I could see he wasn't online. Instead, he'd pulled up a Word document. So he's reading some document. So as I got right behind him, I could see now that the title of this document, my mom's name is Norma. The document title said, Why Norma is So Valuable. I remember thinking, what do you, I said to him, what are you looking at here? He goes, don't worry about it. And I said, no, tell me, this looks really cool. What is this? He said, I don't know, a couple years ago, he said, I was just thinking about your mom and some of my most favorite things about her. And so I just wrote them down, put them on the computer. And then over the years, I've just kind of added to the list as I thought about some others. Well, I'm telling you, there were hundreds and hundreds of little words and phrases about my mom. I said, Dad, that's really cool. I love that. But I said, but like, why are you doing that right now? I said, aren't you mad at Mom? And he goes, oh, I can't stand her. And I went, that's what I thought. Help me to understand. Well, I'll never forget his answer. He said, son, he goes, there's been plenty of times your mom and I fought, and I've come in here by myself, and I've just sat in my chair and thought about what she said and did and stewed, and because I just would stay super upset for a long time. Because what I've learned to do is I come in here, turn the computer on, make myself start to read through the list. He goes, now I'm mad at her. So he goes, I read the first few, and I go, that's not true, and why did I write that? And I'm going to know one for sure. But he said, I get through enough that I remember that you have an amazing mom. I thought, whoa, that's that verse being lived out. Where your treasure is, what you value. See, that's what our heart will open to. That's what he's learned to do to get back open to my mom. That's the power of cherish. When I recognize her value, it's a total game changer. And again, I'm never going to pursue something that I don't value. And because I want to closely pursue her, it's going to start because I really, truly get her value. And so we want to encourage you to do something, right, very similar that my dad did.
Yeah, we want to encourage you to make your own cherish list. You're going to think about, what is it that you love about your spouse? What is it you cherish about them? Is it a character quality? Is it how they live their faith out? Is it their work ethic? Is it a physical characteristic? What is it about them that you love? Now, there are times we'll do this with premarital couples and couples that are engaged, and we'll say, okay, write out, what you love about your future spouse. And I'm not kidding you. They cannot write fast enough. They're just writing, and they're like, I need more paper. And they're continuing to write. And what we found, like Greg was saying, that when we get busy and disconnected and maybe disappointed or hurt, we begin to forget. What was it about this person that we chose? We committed to spend the rest of our life with this person. What was it that you saw in them? What is it that you see today? So often our eyes are distracted on other things, or we're hurt in our view of them. The filter that we're running our view of them through becomes very negative. But again, their value doesn't change based on our inability to see it. It's there. So are we going to have him do it now? Sure. So just real quick, we want you
60 seconds.
60 seconds. We want to give you a start in this. If you don't have pen and paper, or you do because you have your little book, you can also do this on your phone, on the note section. Then you always have it with you. So just begin that list. We're going to give you 60 seconds to begin this list. It's something that you can use like Greg's dad did in those moments when your heart maybe is closed and you want to reopen. You want to remember, what is it about them that I adore? You can pull this out. So on your mark, get set, go.
Keep going, you're doing good. 30 more seconds. If you're feeling stuck, just subtly glance at your neighbor's paper. So don't make it obvious. So keep going. 20 seconds. Doing good. Yeah, you can. All right, time's up. Good job. Some of you ran out of ink. Others, you're still considering just how to frame it just right. So we always love this part. So I know it's a bigger group, but don't be afraid. Shout some of these out. What is it that you love about your spouse? What are some of your favorite things about your spouse? She's gorgeous. Got it. Yeah. She's sweet, okay? Very forgiving. Okay, sacrifices. Awesome. compassionate sense of humor, great mother, love of books. Nice. I like that. His bum. Wow. Man.
These Canadians, woo.
Wow. That stinks. What else? They're killing you guys on this side, all right? I'm just saying, you gotta, okay, honesty. Loves the Lord.
Smart.
Loves your bum. That's really good.
His smart bum.
His smart bum. That's good. Loves to help people. Awesome. So here's your assignment for tonight. Okay, as you were driving home, maybe you're staying nearby at a hotel, maybe you've got a little bit of a drive, share what you came up with your spouse. It doesn't matter if it's one thing or 10 things. As you guys are driving, just trade back and forth. There's only one rule. When your spouse says something, whatever Erin says to me, I'm not allowed to go, right, come on. You can just say, thank you. Huh, interesting. Tell me more about that one. You could do something like that, right?
Yes, you sure could.
Because here's what happened. When my father passed away about 3 years ago, my mom asked me to go into his office and kind of go through his stuff, go through his computer, just kind of clean things up, figure out what are we keeping, not keeping. I found his cherish list. And the sad part is, when I told my mom, I was so excited to show her, her response was, wait, what? I've never seen that. She'd never seen that. I mean, he used it to get his heart open. But man, what an opportunity that you have to take the things that stand out, that are some of your favorite things, and actually share those with each other. So do you get your homework assignment? Okay, so you're going to share those as you're driving home. If you live right next to the church, then as you're laying in bed tonight, what an opportunity before you pray together to share this as well.
And we actually had the opportunity at his dad's memorial service to read that list over her, to share with her, this is what your husband loved about you. Now, we want to encourage you to share today, tomorrow, and forever. Share that list with each other and speak those words of affirmation over each other and use it for your good as well to get your heart back open. Yeah. It was a precious, precious moment in memory doing that with her, though. So, but it can't just be what we think about our spouse. I can't just think, in my mind and write down on this list that Greg is a really great guy. I love his sense of humor most times. Most times.
Interesting. Tell me more about that.
So that's the cherish portion. I love his work ethic. You're a hard worker. There's so many great character qualities that Greg has. He's a great dad.
And my bum.
Your bum. Yeah. You got to add that one to the list. Yeah. Got to add that to my list.
I'm just a trophy husband. It was bound to come out at some point.
So it just can't be the attitude, the cherish portion. It also has to be the action part of it, the nourish. We can't just say that we, love this about our spouse, that we cherish them. We have to also put action to it. It's like 1 John 3:18. It says, let us not love with mere words, but with action and in truth. So we have to put this into action. You know what I mean when someone says, I just love you, but then, treats you like dirt. That doesn't jive, right? We've got to show through our behavior that we truly cherish this person. Again, we're not going to pursue someone if we don't remember how valuable they are. So as we remember how valuable they are, let that then drive your behavior to show them how valuable they are. We did some research around this and asked about 1,000 couples, what would we do in order to find out what really helps you to feel loved? What actions would we be doing? How would we know that? So we came up with this statement, I feel loved when you ... and you just fill in the blank. And we had about 1,000 couples complete that statement, and we came up with a list of the top answers. And really, it's a great question to their statement to have your spouse answer, because it's a goldmine of information that you then know, what would I be doing to really help you know that I cherish you, that I want to nourish you, I love you. What would I be doing that would really speak that to you? So I'm going to run through just some of the top answers that they came up with. Pray with me and share a deep faith. Of course, we know the research shows prayer makes a huge difference. When two committed Christians are really walking out their faith, especially through prayer, they say the divorce rate drops to what? Just this little minimal.
Yeah, like less than 1%.
Yes. Yeah, it really does make a difference. And it really helps, though, couples that share faith to feel loved. Talk to know me and be known. And then you see in the parentheses there's the 10-minute rule. 10 minutes of really talking, not administrating like we talked about before, the business meeting, but talking at that deep heart level. Talking about what's going on the inside, to know me, but also to know what's going on in Greg's heart, his dreams, his desires, his fears. And the 10-minute rule, there's some research done around 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference. This groundbreaking research study was done. This woman followed like 360 couples for 30 years. Never been done before. What I loved about her research is instead of looking at the couples that didn't make it, she looked at the couples, the cream of the crop. What were they doing that made them super satisfied in their relationship? And she found the difference was 10 minutes a day of talking at this deep heart level. 10 minutes a day. I had already read that the average couple spends about 4 minutes a day talking at the deeper heart level, talking about fears, dreams, what's going on in their heart, emotions. So we were already doing 4 minutes. I was like, 10 minutes a day, so only 6 more minutes, and we can take our marriage to the next level? No way. And I know that when you heard this research, you were super excited because you were performing a wedding, your first wedding.
I was super nervous, wanted to do a great job, so it's huge. I'm serious, about this size. There's probably 500 in attendance, and so at the part that I'm going to kind of impart some wisdom to this couple, I wanted to use this part of this research. So here's how I did it. I asked for the bride's bouquet, and so she hands it over a little reluctantly, as I remember, gives me her bouquet. I kind of held it up and went, okay, look at this. Look how beautiful these flowers are, how mature. I said, this is a visual of the marriage that they're both dreaming of. Look how beautiful and mature. This is what they want. However, today they're starting out, and I held up some seed packets. Said so, but they're starting off here. So how do they go from these seeds to this gorgeous bouquet of flowers? So I had everybody's attention. So I said 4 things. So I was going to take these 4 things and relate it to some element of growing flowers, which I don't do at all. So I probably should have.
You should have asked me for
I should have asked.
Just some assistance or help.
Yes, that would have been good.
Yes.
But here I was up in front of everybody. And so I talked about their relationship with God, and Christ is the cornerstone. And that's like sunlight to these flowers, and something else like water. And I got to this 4th point about spending 10 minutes a day in this inner life kind of communication. And as I was talking about this, I said, and that's like, and I couldn't think of what was I going to compare it to. Some gardening something. It's just nothing was coming to my brain. And I blanked. And so I'm just stuttering and stammering, and I'm like, you got the flowers, and you do things to the flowers, and so I'm struggling bad. So something pops in my brain. I just went with it. I didn't think about it. I just went. So I went, so you got the flowers, and the communication is it's like fertilizer. I said, you two need to spend 10 minutes a day fertilizing each other. I get all this laughter, and I don't know what's so funny. Because although I said it, I didn't catch it. And so I'm very drawn to humor and laughter. So, and I'm drawn to the edge of the stage. Wow. Failed it. So I'm drawn to the laughter. So I start going on and on about the fertilizing and taking all the time to fertilize one another. I mean, it became very awkward and like weird,
Yes.
right?
I was trying to like
I
scoot him
know.
along. Like,
I'm like,
okay,
why? They're all
enough
having
of the
fun. Leave me
fertilizer.
alone. So, I mean, I turned to the bride at some point and I said, you need to spend at least 20 minutes a day fertilizing him. And people are like, la, la. And finally the groom, who we had done their premarital counseling, so we were good friends with him. So finally the groom, he leans forward and he goes, hey, hurry it up. I'd like to start fertilizing her. Oh, that was horrible. Where were you?
I was right there, dying.
The principle was true. The execution was
just
a little off. But you will now never forget.
Yes.
10 minutes a day of fertilizing each other. Very good.
Yes.
Is that what you were talking about?
That's what I was talking about. So 10 minutes a day of deep, heartfelt communication.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thought you meant something else.
No. Heartfelt communication.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing to instill. Just in I know I feel very loved when you take interest in what is going on inside, in my heart. We spend so much time getting to know each other when we're dating, engaged. That's all we talk about is dreaming about the future. What's this going to be like? You know, who are you? What have you been through? Who made you who you are today? Then we get busy, distracted, hurt, disconnected, and sometimes that stops. So just being intentional about pursuing that 10 minutes a day can really, really make a difference. So it's praying, talking, providing positive affirmation, affirming who they are, and also expressing gratitude, thanking your spouse for what they do. It's both, affirming and gratitude, acting curious about me, providing affection, serving me in ways that are meaningful to me. I feel loved when you serve me in ways that speak to me, not you, because typically what we'll do is try to love our spouse in ways that we feel loved. So we try to show them, but the truth is, this is an opportunity to really get good at figuring out what is it that's going to cause you to feel loved. And that is this last one, having fun and laughing with me. He loves laughter. That causes Greg to feel loved. That would be at the top of his list. So I regularly take advantage of opportunities to just help you to feel loved, right?
Yes.
Yes. So several years back, 3 a.m, I hear a noise outside the house. I thought I heard a car running, a car idling. It didn't make sense, but I was certain I heard a car running. So how many of you, especially ladies, hear noises in the middle of the night, an intruder breaking in, right? And not noises coming from them, but noises.
Or not only noises coming from us.
Yeah. Noises coming from outside the house. So time and time again, I'll wake him up 3 a.m. this one night, woke him up. I said, Greg, there's a car idling outside of our house. Can you go check and make sure that we're safe? So he gets up, leaves the room, and I'm certain he's out there, checking doors, making sure the perimeter is safe, going around doors, windows, making sure we're safe. And for whatever reason, you're outside the room. I had this brilliant idea, 3 a.m. I don't know where it came from. I know where you think it came from, but so I put pillows on my side of the bed because I knew when he came in the room, he'd make sure he'd look over and say, she's in bed. Well, I put pillows on my side of the bed, and I decided to crawl over onto his side of the bed, and then I got down on the floor, and I just laid there in the dark, very quietly, just waiting for you to come back because I knew you would feel very loved when I scared you or surprised you in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So, I've learned over the years that when she hears the noise, that I've got to be gone, right, a certain amount of time. Right, guys? Or they know that we really did look at everything and check everything. So, after I finished playing the Xbox game, I came back, right, towards our room, and as she said, I flipped on the hall light, I peered in, because I do know her, and it looks like she's in bed. I had no idea there were pillows, so I turned the light off, I'm just exhausted. I just want to get back into bed and try to go back to sleep. So I come all the way around on my side of the bed. I'm just about to step in when I hit her, and she screams as loud as she can, which again is like, ugh, it's jarring. And then she takes me and she pulls me down. So what do you think I'm thinking? It's the car idling man under our bed. Guy, I think I'm being murdered. To only find out it's her. And I'm like, honey, that is actually really funny, but let's be real. I'm older now. My heart clearly is weaker. I said, how are you going to explain this to our children that Dad's gone? Because I scared him to death, you know? Guy, I'm telling you, after I went and changed my shorts and came all the way back to bed, I have never felt more loved in all my life. Isn't that weird? Who else loves practical jokes and that kind of humor? All right, yeah.
Okay,
who hates that? Yeah.
Yeah, so the key is to make sure that this is on your spouse's list, because it's on yours, but it is not on mine.
Right.
Definitely not on mine. But we have the opportunity to create the cherish list. Keep that with you. Speak that over your spouse, but then also ask your spouse to create a nourish list, and you create a nourish list. I feel loved when you ... Exchange the lists after you've made that list. Just commit to, regardless of what Greg does or doesn't do, whatever your spouse is going to do, I'm going to choose to do one of these things off of this list, every other day, once a week, once a month, whatever it is. Because, again, there's an opportunity to be super intentional about really nourishing. Cherishing, Greg, but then also nourishing, speaking, showing, action. That I not only see your value, but I'm going to treat you in valuable ways. Simple opportunity that you can take advantage of.
Yeah, we love this verse in Psalms 23:6, that your beauty and love chase after me all the days of my life. And that's what I want her experience to be. That I am chasing, I am pursuing her. God did that for us. Christ left the 99 to chase after the one. And he will spend our lifetime relentlessly pursuing us. And I want to take his model. But again, I'm not God, so I need something simple. And I tell you, that's why recognizing her value and then thinking about how would she answer that? I feel loved when I ... That's given me the answers to be able to constantly be pursuing her in the midst of all the busyness and craziness of our life. So tonight, as you drive home or as you're laying in bed, you're going to talk only about your cherish list. Okay, you're just going to talk back and forth. Tomorrow morning, when you come, because the doors, Tim, open at, I know you're going to come up, but they open at, 8:30.
8:30.
Stacy's got it. Where were you with that one? You're looking at me like a deer in the headlight going, so thank you. So as you come in tomorrow morning, this is how we'd like you to use your time. So come early. Be here about that time, 8:30, so you can just sit there and answer that. I feel loved, so take 5 or so minutes and just write out several. I feel loved when Erin, whatever. And then you guys can trade that information back. So you're going to do your cherish list tonight and then your nourish list tomorrow. And we're going to start our session tomorrow with really the things that we've talked about are incredible, and they can really make these small differences in the midst of all the busyness. But we're going to start tomorrow morning with really what we believe is truly the foundation of a great marriage. So we are excited to see you tomorrow morning.